So nice to see you all. How did we fare in the weather today? All right, I'm seeing some thumbs up. Lots of crazy traffic conditions happening out there. So I hope everyone got where they needed to get safely. All right, so to honor everyone's time, I want to welcome you to this conversation. Thank you for joining us. We thought it might be helpful, given all the exciting kind of news we have about after school, to just have a conversation to ensure that you all have all the information you need to make decisions about your children and what they might need between 3:30 and 5:30 each day. And it's really exciting to have this conversation because we really see what happens after school as an extension of the school day, right? We really want students to be building connections, to be finding their passions, to be making friends across divisions or within their divisions and grades. So we're really excited to have this conversation and hopefully clarify some questions or share some information about how we'll be thinking about after school programs this year. I know we have a few new families to Gordon on the call, so welcome. And I know we have a few families on the call who maybe haven't experienced our after school program outside the context of COVID. And we know there were transitions and additions and modifications we had to do because of COVID. So we're excited to talk about what the framework can look like now when we have kind of some routines around that and we can kind of get to the heart of what we're trying to do after school. So the way it'll go is that we'll have an opportunity to hear from Jenny, from Millie, and from Damon about their programs. And after each sharing, folks will have some opportunities to ask questions. If we find that the time allotted for questions for each person doesn't quite meet the needs, you can drop some questions in the chat. And I know that Jenny, Damon, and Millie would be happy to answer additional questions offline. But we figured that some folks might have the same questions, so it might be nice to just address those in the space. So thank you everyone for being here. And Jenny, you're on.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I think it's worth noting we are recording this, right, Alethea?
We are.
Okay, perfect. I'm Jenny Ilario. For those of you I may not have met in person, those of you who we've maybe only chatted over email, I am our Auxiliary Programs Director. So that means really a lot of things that fall outside of the school day. Before care, after school, summer, are all the worlds in which I deal here at Gordon. So let me see. Alethea, I'm going to share my screen. And
that's great.
Great. And so we can get our slides up here. And I'm going to hop right in and get us talking about Gators and YAP. So Gators is our aftercare program. We call it Gators for nursery through 4th grade. And YAP, it stands for Young Adult Place. That is for our middle schoolers, so 5th through 8th grade. So diving right in, Gators and YAP, we offer thoughtful supervised care after school from dismissal at 3:20 all the way till 5:30. One of the things I love most about being involved in our after school programs is that the Gordon experience does not end at 3:20. You will see our mission threaded through all of the programs that you're going to hear about tonight and everything that we do. So it's really important that we can create this full Gordon experience, whether you are here until 3:20 or anytime after up until 5:30. So our Gators and YAP staff are lots of familiar faces to a lot of our students. So we have teaching assistants, substitute teachers, and other experienced educators who are our teachers after school every day. These are folks who are in many ways tied into the Gordon community beyond Gators. So students will get to know them, whether they are in their classrooms during the school day, they're subbing, they're covering recess duty. They may know them from summer camp or from some aftercare, evening care. Lots of different ways our Gators and YAP staff are tied into our community. And I think that that really helps us provide the best quality experience for our students. So students know our teachers after school, and our after school teachers get to know them as well. I think one of the best lessons that our after school staff learned these past couple of years with COVID is that we can really tailor our programs to the students that we have. So we're able to really get to know them. And so we can figure out, okay, this group of middle schoolers, they're really into this this jewelry business that they want to start. So those are the friends after school who are getting the beads and the string, and they're coming up with all the products that they are going to sell at some point. We have our friends who love Legos and love building, so we can make sure that there's some sort of building element to what we're doing. We've got our friends who love arts and crafts and just creating and making, whether it's out of pipe cleaners and cotton balls, or some friends will just take a stack of cardboard boxes and create something amazing. And one day it's a maze, and then the next day they come in and it's a ramp, or it's a pet hospital, or whatever it is. So we really do love to get to know our students after school individually. Again, it's that child by child piece that's so vital to our mission. But it also allows for us to just learn and grow and explore together. So we do provide a mix of both unstructured and structured opportunities for students, both indoors and outdoors. So we do have plenty of time out on the playground or on a field. And we've also got friends who can play indoors at different centers and in different spaces. We do separate our students by their age group. So we have nursery, preschool, young kindergarten, and kindergarten who are indoors in the Gator Room, which is a classroom that's dedicated just to our after school program. Our lower school students, first through fourth graders, their home base is the dining room. And our lower school students usually, middle school students usually set up space in one or two of our middle school classrooms. YAP is a little bit different than Gators in that a lot of our middle school students after school are here for a study hall. It's oftentimes the only time that our middle school students might have some dedicated time to work after school on their homework. Lots of students have other activities and other commitments that come after school or in the evening. So we do like to provide that space for them to get homework done, either individually or in a small group. But then we also want to make sure that our middle school students who need some activity, who need some movement, who might need a break from sitting at a desk and doing some work, we can also provide that for them as well. So again, it's structured and unstructured, both indoors and outdoors, for all of our students at Gators and YAP. The next part of our after school program that I love to share is enrichments. And enrichments are after school classes that are supplemental to our school's curriculum. We haven't had enrichments for the past 2 years, so I am thrilled to have them back. This is another opportunity for students to learn and grow and be together after school. We have offerings for all of our grades, nursery through 8th grade, and these classes run from 3:30 to 4:30 in the afternoons. The only exception to that timing for the fall is our Girls on the Run team. They meet until 5 o'clock. So they'll meet 2 days a week until 5 o'clock instead of 4:30. For these programs, registration is online. It's still open. I think we're open until, I think the 30th is our deadline. And we've got lots of different options. I just listed a few here. We've got a West African music and dance class. That's for our nursery through kindergarten students. We have a couple of classes through Roger Williams Zoo. We have one for early childhood. We have another one for lower school. Save the Bay will come and do a program for our lower school students as well. We've got drone coding, which is 3rd through 5th grade. We have drone photography for 6th through 8th graders, and a whole slew more of them. So lots of different options. Variety is the name of the game. We want to make sure there's a little bit of something for everyone. If any of our students want to delve into one particular kind of activity for the duration of the fall. These classes meet once a week, again, with the exception of Girls on the Run. And they're really fun. They're really exciting. We're really happy to have them back. So I want to talk a little bit about fees and then talking just a little bit more about the logistics of how our students get to and from all of these activities. So for Gators and YAP, we are offering a full year package, which gives you all the Gators and YAP you could possibly need for this entire school year at a discounted rate. And it also gives you a discount on Gator Days. For those of you who may not know what Gator Days are, these are full day childcare opportunities on certain holidays when school is not in session. So there's some holidays, there's some conference days, report writing days, when we don't have school, but we will offer a full day of childcare on campus if you need it. If you decide a full year package does not fit your needs, we're also bringing back the drop-in option for Gators and Yap. So that means you don't have to register if you need your child to stay after school. They can stay. They just let the teacher know first thing in the morning, or if things change during the day, just give us a call at the school and we'll know to add your child to our roster and welcome them into the after school program for lots of joyful play. The drop-in rate is $30 a day, and that'll be billed after your child attends. One thing to note, if you are someone who has never signed up for Gators, Yap, any of our after school programs or any of our summer programs, you do need to create an online account so that we can go ahead and add drop-ins to your account. It's super easy. The instructions are on the website and part of all of the information that was rolled out for after school programs. It's literally, you click on a link and you click a box and all of your information that you've already shared with Gordon is populated and you're ready to go. Very simple. Enrichment classes, there are fees that vary by class. That's all listed on our website as well as in the registration portal. So you can find that information in a number of places. One thing to note is that students who register for an enrichment class and or a music lesson, which Millie's going to talk about in a little bit, they may stay for Gators before or after at no additional charge. So if you sign your child up for an enrichment that ends at 4:30, but you're not able to pick up until 5 o'clock, we've got you covered. They'll go from their enrichment right into Gators, and then you can pick them up whenever you're ready. And likewise with music lessons, let's say you've got a music lesson scheduled for 4:45, your child can stay in Gators at the beginning. The music instructor will pick them up for their lesson and then either bring them to you for pickup, or they can come back to Gators if you need. So lots of flexibility and lots of different options here. All right, the last thing I want to touch on is just some of these logistics of how does my child get from their classroom to a dance class or a theater class or Gators or Yap. We've got you covered. So early childhood students will have one of our staff members pick them up at their classrooms, and they're going to bring all of their things and they're going to walk to the Gator room. The Gator room is located just beyond the Nelson Center entrance. What was Miss Montero's classroom last year is our Gator room. So our friends have cubbies there. They've got lots of toys and centers and space to play inside. So that's where we have early childhood Gators play each afternoon. Lower school students will walk down from their classrooms to the dining hall, and they'll have centers and activities set up there. And middle school students will meet in designated classrooms for Yap after school. And then finally, all of our after school programs, Gators, Yap, enrichments, all end by 5:30. And pickup is at the Nelson Center. So whether you're picking up a child in early childhood, lower school, or middle school, that's the place to go. That's where we'll have our after school receptionist at the desk. And that's where all the activity will be for Gators, Yap, and enrichments. All right.
Thanks, Jenny. Do you mind unsharing your screen so maybe we can see folks as they have questions?
Yeah.
We've got a couple of questions in the chat, Jenny. So there is a question about, I think it's been partially addressed, but if folks want to select a Gators program, but it isn't the entire year, how do folks go about doing that?
Does that mean?
So folks might want to do, let's see, let me read the question. Sorry.
That's okay.
Melanie's question is, you can't seem to choose a full year package of say 3 days a week. So like if you know you want consistency through the year, but it's not full time, what are the options there? I think that's been mostly addressed, but I just want to make sure that
got it. Here. So I think you'll have to weigh sort of what your needs are versus like those two options that we have, either the full year package or the drop-in. So if you're someone who is maybe looking at, I need 1 or 2 days, I need something here or there, I think the drop-in option is probably the way to go. If you're someone who you think most afternoons you might be in need of Gators, then I think the full year package is probably a better deal in terms of how much you're going to pay. Am I answering the question, Alethea? I'm not sure if I got that right.
I think so. It sounds like if you
Okay.
want to sign up online for Gators, you're doing the full-time 5-day
Yep.
a week option, which might be a more affordable option, even if you need some flexibility, but there's also the drop-in rate if folks need that.
Right.
To the drop-in question, I see that Ryan and Natasha asked for drop-ins. Can you decide that the day of? Like, how does
Yep.
it work?
Definitely. Even if it's something that midway through the school day, you realize, oh my goodness, I'm not going to make it for 3:20, just give the school a call and let us know. We'll make sure that your student is aware that they'll be staying after school. And then the after school staff will also know that we'll be adding them to our team for the day.
There was some celebration for Gator Days returning. Could you just quickly tell us what that is for some folks who might be new and not know?
Yes, definitely. So Gator Days are days when we provide a full day of childcare when school is not in session. Conference days, report writing days, certain holidays. They're all noted on the school's calendar, so you'll know which days we do offer childcare. And all of them are listed in the registration portal as well. So Gator Days, we have our Gator staff provide just lots of different fun activities throughout the day. It's really fun because we are the only students who are at school those days. So we have access to lots of fun spaces like the field house and the dining hall and all the playgrounds and all the fields. So we get the run of the place and we get to do lots of fun things. While family members may need to still be working on those days when we don't have school. We have full day and half day options. I think a half day is up to 4 hours, if I'm remembering correctly. So if you think you might just need a half day, you can sign up for that. Or if you may need a longer than that, we've got that full day option as well. The other thing that's worth noting with Gator Days is that if you sign up for the full year package, you get a 50% discount on any Gator Day that you may need, which is a delightful little bonus.
Jenny,
Go ahead,
Basinia has a question. She's asked, is it possible to sign up for Gators before Common Ground, before it begins in mid-September?
I think there's only one, I think there's maybe 1 week before Common Ground starts, if I have the dates correct. So if your student is usually going to be participating in Common Ground, I think for that 1 day or 2, it can be a drop-in.
Yeah, I think it's 2. I think it's 2 weeks.
2? Okay.
And so just for clarity purposes, again, so folks can only sign up for Gators online if they're doing the full year.
Yep.
Otherwise, they're doing drop-in. Is that correct?
That's right.
Just want to make sure. And then there was a question about Save the Bay. I hear that the zoo's online. The zoo is on campus, but is Save the Bay happening on campus as well, Jenny?
Yes, all of our enrichments are on campus. So zoo educators are coming from Roger Williams. We've got educators coming from Save the Bay. All of those are held at Gordon's campus for the fall.
So exciting. And then there's a question about, are you able to sign up for, I think you've alluded to this a bit, but do we sign up for Gator Days 1 day at a time? And is that online?
All the Gator Days for the fall are online right now. So you can sign up for them as you need, or you can sign up for them all at once if you think you're going to need them. I do believe we have I think 2 weeks in advance or 1 week in advance, we need to have an understanding of how many students we might have for a Gator Day. So as the fall goes on, like you'll see some of them coming off the online registration. But if there's ever a question about like, did I miss the registration? Can I still get in? Just send me an email and we can make sure to make that happen.
Wonderful. Other questions? All right, well, I know that Jenny is available if you have questions that are specific to your family. And it was really exciting to hear again about all of the possibilities for our after school program this year. I think it's really, really exciting to think about how students can extend their learning and make connections and build friendships between the hours of 3:20 and 5:30. So thank you for that, Jenny.
You're welcome.
So if you wouldn't mind sharing your screen again, we're going to have Millie up next.
And Jenny, you're going to need to click through those slides for me since I'm not screen sharing, but you are. So thank you for doing that for me. I'm Millie Massey, for those of you who don't know me. I know that we do have some new faces here on the screen and some new names that I don't recognize, but I really look forward to meeting you all. And I also see that we have some people that are veterans of much of our after-school programming, including our theater program, which is the main thing that I'll be talking about tonight. Uh, I wanted to start by just kind of framing the philosophy that we have with performing arts in particular, a lot of which is housed in the after school space. As you know, your children do have music and art, and when they get to the electives program, they have some dance and some theater options during the day. But for most of the other types of programming and for the earlier grades, the programming is after school. So we have a series of different experiences, and I'm going to take you through some of the specifics of that. But I do want to just talk philosophically first about what we really deeply believe in terms of performing arts at Gordon School. So our goal at Gordon's Performing Arts in our performing arts program is to create a safe space of belonging where students get to experience the joy of creating. And those of you that have had children that have had experiences in this program will know that really the idea is to have children really feel like they can find themselves, that they can see themselves reflected in the work that we do. We cast everybody in plays. We have instrumental lessons that are open to all children, and we have a variety of different instruments to try to have kids find their way into instrumental learning. And we also have this wonderful experience known as No Fear Friday, which is an open mic night that is for performers of all different types, where middle school performers perform for whoever wants to show up from any part of the school. Jenny, we can go to the next slide. We also, above all, really seek to create genuine engagement. And engagement, it really means a bunch of different things to different people. For some people, engaging in the process, really, and being there every single day, being part of this place of belonging, knowing that you're going to see your friends, knowing that you know that you have this space that you feel really comfortable in, that's really part of what your engagement is. And for others, it really is about what that product is ultimately going to be and the thing that we work toward, which is true in virtually every single performing art. You can practice and you can rehearse and you can study, but if you don't have that exclamation point at the end of the sentence, there's something kind of missing. And so that's why we do performance, and we do it across all different kinds of modalities. And we do really believe that we want to uphold high expectations for that product, but the point isn't just completely about the product. Kids do want to be part of something that's successful, so they want the play to be good. They want to play perfectly when they're up in an instrumental recital. You know, they want to do a good job at open mic, as you can see in this picture. That's a photograph of that. But in reality, they feel that they want to have that experience of it being perfect, but it's so important for them to understand that it doesn't have to be perfect to be great. And so we really want to instill in kids that sense that you try and you do your best, and sometimes it feels just like it's right on, and sometimes it doesn't. And if it doesn't, you get up and you try it again and again and again. And I think we've been really successful in having kids feel very comfortable with that process. So Jenny, we'll go to the next slide. In terms of after-school performing arts, there are really three things that I want to highlight here. Number one, after-school theater, and I'm very proud to say that through the years, virtually 98% of children have some experience in at least one or more plays or musicals. This year we actually had, with fourth grade, every single child in the grade choose to participate in the after-school musical, which I think was probably the only time we've had every single child. But it's something that's really honored and valued, and that kids really want to be part of. So the way the programming works is we do a middle school play, which is a non-musical, in the fall. And then we have 2 other seasons, and in those seasons we rotate so that kids can have the experience, particularly through middle school, where they might be able to do basketball one year and do the musical the next year, and then maybe they decide that they're not going to do basketball, but they're going to do lacrosse, and they can do the musical, and they can kind of map out so that they get a chance to be able to do multiple things. And Damon and I feel that that's really important, so that's why we rotate. This year, the middle school musical will be in the winter. That will be auditioning right before the break, and then beginning rehearsals right after the winter break. And then the third and fourth grade musical will be in the spring, and we're really happy to be able to say that third grade will be able to participate again this year because we can combine the grades. So we're really kind of all gloves off about COVID, although obviously we're going to continue to follow the protocols, but we're back to a much more kind of normal way of running the after-school theater program. I also want to highlight two other things about this. The after-school instrumental program, which hopefully you've all seen information about, that runs throughout the school year. It also runs in essentially 3 different chunks. We offer lessons in everything from piano. We have 3 very accomplished piano teachers: voice, ukulele, saxophone, clarinet, bass, guitar, mandolin. I don't know if I forgot any, but that's our current set of offerings. And I encourage you to take a look at those offerings and reach out to the teachers individually. If you are interested in having your child participate in that program, Bill Bodwin is the one who runs the program. The final thing I want to highlight here is No Fear Friday open mic, which I alluded to. It's something that we invented about 8 years ago. And the idea really is to have kids feel that they are very comfortable getting up in front of people and doing something that they want to share. So it could be anything from, we have had skits, we've had short plays, we've had kids doing the cup piece that was so popular a while ago. We obviously have a lot of singers, a lot of singer-songwriters, we have pianists, we have ukulele artists, we have all kinds of different types of performance, and we encourage kids to do whatever they feel comfortable with and they want to share. And there are 4 open mics scheduled for this year. I think, Jenny, we can go on to the next slide, and then I'll answer the questions that are coming into the chat. The key theater logistics, just in case there are questions about this, for those of you that haven't been involved at Gordon, we welcome all students in whatever age group we're working with. So again, it's middle school in the fall, and it's middle school again in the winter, and then it's 3rd and 4th grade in the spring. All students are cast. There's never any cuts. There's never anybody that we don't have room for. We welcome everybody. We encourage everybody to participate on stage, but there's lots and lots and lots of behind the scenes opportunity as well, and that's always super popular. The kids that are doing set crew or doing tech crew are folded in toward the end of each of the experiences, so they wouldn't need to come for the full time. They would be coming probably 2 to 3 weeks beforehand if they're working backstage. We also, Damon and I worked really hard to try to come up with philosophy around theater and athletics. We absolutely want kids to be able to experience both, but we also feel really strongly that they need to be able to honor their teams, whether that team is a theater team or whether it's an athletics team. So what we've agreed to is that students can do both athletics and theater if they're in middle school in the fall only. And the way that's going to work is that the students go to their athletics every single day. Even if there's a rainy day, then they go home or they go to their study hall or they go to whatever's been provided for them for athletics. But they are part of their team all the way through the season. When the season ends, and most of them are planned to end basically around Halloween, then they come to the play. And I will have reserved a part for them. It will be a smaller, a more sort of circumscribed part, because in the 2 weeks then that we have to prepare, or 2.5 weeks, it wouldn't be practical on any level to give somebody a part that would be really challenging for them to learn in that amount of time. So they have to know that they're going to get a slightly smaller part, but that they will then be able to fully participate. Athletics and theater will both dismiss at 5 p.m. until the last 2 weeks, when I extend the rehearsal period, because we always need a little bit of extra time. And we'll be reminding you of that as we get into the run of each of the rehearsal periods. I think that's it for me in terms of the information that I wanted to give. Jenny, I think the next one up probably is Damon's slide, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, it is. So I'll just dive into the chat and see if there's anything here that I can easily answer. We have a question about.
Yeah, so there was a question about enrichment classes for nursery, which our nursery program is included in our enrichment program. So they do have access to enrichment courses. And I imagine that arts would be an option for them as well. Oh, Gabe's already all over that. There's also a question about from Sarah about the after school rehearsal schedule for the third, fourth musical in the spring, Millie. So that might be,
So
that might, go ahead.
usually what we've done, and we'll probably need to stay a little bit flexible about this, but the philosophy has always been that for third and fourth grade, it's really a lot to ask them to come to a rehearsal every single day, Monday through Thursday. So what we've done traditionally is we've had Monday and Wednesday rehearsals for everybody, for all third and all fourth graders that are in the play. And then what we do is we take Tuesdays and Thursdays and we kind of pull out. It's really exclusively fourth graders that have those kind of larger pieces. That they might have the interstitial scenes. They might have some extra songs that they need to learn that are solo pieces. We pull them out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you have a third grader, you can assume that it's going to be 2 days a week, and it's probably going to be Monday and Wednesday. And if you have a fourth grader, you can assume that it's going to be those 2 days of the week plus probably at least one Tuesday and one Thursday, and it might be all week depending on the size of the part. Does that help answer the question?
I think so. And I
Thank
imagine
you.
that once it's, Sarah's trying to figure out her schedule ahead of time so that Lucy
You know,
can,
we have the piano lessons, and I feel like if we book them for the wrong day, it's really hard to pivot for the next semester. So we'll just try for Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah, I think that should be fine. And if it does end up that there's some change in that, then we'll figure out how to be flexible. The other thing I should say, especially about third and fourth grade, is that these are the years where kids start to do dance classes outside of school, and they start their religious education and all other kinds of commitments. And we've worked with those commitments through the years. We're very, very, very supportive of kids doing the things that are important to them, and also being able to be part of some really important experiences at school. So if a kid has to miss because of religious ed or has to miss because the dance class is always on Tuesday, we'll figure out how to make that work.
Millie, there's also, oh, go ahead, Gabe. I think we're doing the same thing. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Tanya's question.
Yep. Go ahead.
So, Millie, question about music lessons. Are they available to all grade levels or just middle
They're
schoolers?
all grade levels. There are some. You'll need to have a conversation with some teachers. Starting sax at age 5 is probably not a great idea, but starting piano at age 5 or 6 can be a good idea. There are some teachers that have strong opinions about what appropriate ages are, but I encourage you to reach out to either Bill Bodwin or to an individual teacher if you have a question about that.
All right, we're going to transition to Damon, and then Millie will help folks out in the chat. So I think there's some specific questions that you can help us out with. And what I really appreciate that Millie is alluding to, and I know Damon will talk about as well, is just the philosophy around, especially supporting our middle school students and helping them both understand kind of their commitment and responsibilities to their teams, be it their theater team or to their athletics team, but also giving them the bandwidth and the freedom and the opportunity to explore, right? We really think that middle school is an opportunity for students to figure out what they care about. And the only way that you know that is by trying. So I really appreciate that Millie and Damon, along with Gabe and others, work so intentionally to create these schedules that are both clear, but allow students to have the opportunity to explore. So thank you for that. Damon, you're up next.
Hello, everyone. How are you tonight? You don't have to answer, don't worry about it. All right, so I just want to get started here with our mission. So we put a lot of thought into this, and so I'll go right ahead. The Gordon Athletics program will be a transformative impact. Will have a transformative impact through diverse programs that inspire leadership, teamwork, wellness, and resilience, and offer students opportunities to develop and enhance the intellect, ethics, and character needed to lead meaningful lives while positively impacting society and community around them. What we mean by that is that we look at athletics as an extension of the classroom. Just like we expose children to all these cool things like coding and acting, poetry, math and sciences, where our students get a chance to find their voice, problem solve, and gain confidence, we're just giving them more opportunities to do that in the extended part of the day. All kids learn, everyone actually learns it, differently throughout the day. And we want to make sure that we're hitting them with some, with more challenges in the afternoon, so that, they are still, working and grinding through that process of, just trying to develop and grow as individuals. Yeah, we just want to give them opportunities to sharpen those tools that they have, and through sports, building, working with teammates, working with coaches, learning, and just also like Alethea was just saying, like trying new things. Middle school is the beginning, really. It's really the beginning of their journey of athletics, and who knows what a kid will pick up, or what they'll learn, or what they'll connect with, in 5th or 6th grade, 7th and 8th grade, even sometimes. There's been a lot of opportunity, a lot of times that I've noticed in my time here at Gordon, where a kid has picked up a sport in 8th grade, and they've taken that sport and turned it into a college scholarship, when they didn't even play at 5th, 6th, 7th grade. So, we like to give them opportunities, and that's why the first week at least, or the first 2 weeks of school, when we get together, we're gonna, allow kids to kind of choose, kind of like pick and choose what sport they want to commit to. So like on that first week or first 2 weeks of school, if they want to play soccer on Wednesday, they can come back on Thursday and play field hockey or cross country, or even or Friday and come back and play flag football. So those first 2 weeks, we want kids to try things, because we don't know, and we're hoping that they connect with something that maybe in their minds they weren't even thinking about. All right, we can go to the next slide. All right, so our fall options, like I already alluded to, are cross country, which will be Monday through Thursday practices, and we'll get to what time, the times and stuff afterwards. Okay, I thought we had boys and girls soccer. Soccer, Monday through Thursday, field hockey Monday through Thursday, and flag football this year again will be Tuesdays and Fridays. So for instance, if I play soccer and I want to try flag football, I can. I can play, I can go to flag football practice on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then still go to soccer practice Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now, if there's a game situation, say I have a soccer game on Tuesday and I have flag football practice, I would suggest and encourage the kid to go to the soccer game. There are 2 days, or sorry, let me take that back. There are 2 flag football games this year. They're both on Tuesdays. And ironically, on those 2 Tuesdays, there are some soccer games. So on those 2 Tuesdays, some of us will have to make some choices. And hopefully, I'm here to help out. If you need to call in or need to come and have a face-to-face conversation and try to weigh which side we want to lean towards, that's no problem. I have no problem with that at all. As long as they decide to go to one of them. That's all I care about. All options are open to all genders. There are no tryouts, and everyone plays. I'm not going to say that everyone's going to play the same amount of time, but like I said, this is an opportunity for all kids to get an opportunity to find a role, to find a love, to find an interest in the sport. And I encourage all my coaches to make sure that every kid gets equal opportunities in practice, to encourage them to increase in their skills, their skill set, get opportunities in different places in the game, so they can find some gain confidence, and build towards really helping the team when it comes down to when it's game time. Okay, you can go to the next slide. All right, some helpful hints. Practices are 3:30 to 5 o'clock. And pickup time. Pickup will be from the main circle at between 5 and 5:15. If you are, if you think you're gonna be running a little bit behind, you could definitely give us a call, let us know, and we'll just have your child wait in the Nelson Center. But if you're not there by 5:15, 5:20, we'll take them back to the Nelson Center anyway, and you can just pick them up from that spot. Families will receive, or have received, and will continue to receive weekly athletics announcements. These are the families that are signed up for sports. So if your child is not playing a fall sport, you will not receive these announcements. You will only receive these announcements if your child is signed up for a fall sport. And that'll just be an update to the future schedules, any recent performances. I missed something. Families will receive a text like last year, we did like an emergency text. Sometimes when buses were running late, games start late, things like that. ETAs coming back to school. Sometimes we have situations where families are waiting around for a long period of time. We started texting families last winter, just to let them know what was going on, to give you a little heads up, so you wouldn't be waiting around all day. And then also, if there are any like changes to the schedule, like if we get rained out or that type of situation, or if a game gets canceled, you'll get a text from me. Now that's a one-way text. You will not be able to text back. All right. So when you register for athletics, make sure to sign up for the Google Calendar. Everything in the Google Calendar will have team practices, game schedules, times, locations. That way, that's just another point for you to another reference point for you to find out what's going on in athletics. You can sign up for athletics and participate in the play, like Millie has already mentioned. Those athletes will begin play practices when the athletic season ends. The athletic season ends this year. The last games will be the 31st of October. So I think we're going to have our gatherings the Tuesday after that, which is November 1st. And then from then on, practices, they can go right into rehearsals for the play. Okay, you can go to another. I think we missed a slide. There was a goal slide in there. Hey, there we go. So some of our goals here, we want to provide multiple entry points to help encourage maximum participation in our athletics program. Now, it's not always and only about the intimidation factor of 35 kids getting off of a bus. It's more so about just kids getting opportunities to try different things and finding and picking out something that they may not have known or even had an interest in prior to. That's the main goal there. We want kids to be more active. That's another thing. We want them to be more active. We want them to be challenged, both mentally and physically. We want to encourage students to encourage our athletes to take risks, trying new things. We want them to recognize it by working together, working with schoolmates and building relationships across grade levels. It's a huge value that we have here at Gordon, having such a small and close-knit community where kids really get to know and support each other from all different grade levels. It's a beautiful thing, especially on the athletics field, but it's also awesome just the way it happens throughout the building. And ultimately, we want to build a winning program. Now, a winning program doesn't always mean, W's and L's, wins and losses. That can mean that every day is an opportunity to grow and to improve. We are encouraging our coaches to always challenge our players, to help them increase and improve their skill level as individuals, as teammates. We also we're always trying to push them to just, think outside the box. And just to be there to support and pick each other up. So like I said, every day is an opportunity to improve, and that's what the winning is. If we can work to improve ourselves individually, and improve ourselves as a team with our skill building, with our, the way that we work together, the way that we support each other and are there and show up for each other, the end result is going to be a win, regardless of what the W's and the L's stand for. And that's really what we want to do here at Gordon. So that's me. Thank you.
Damon, questions? Lots of questions so far about what age levels each thing is for. What age levels are for athletics at Gordon School? Can my first grade twins who love playing soccer join the soccer team this fall?
Okay, so athletics is for middle school. Our athletics program at Gordon School is for 5th grade through 8th grade. So we have teams, every sport that I've mentioned there, they're open to 5th through 8th. Now, I will say this, one caveat here is that for cross country, because we are not, we are in a interscholastic league for cross country, which means that we compete against the public schools in the state, and we're in the public school league because of that. Middle schools in the public school systems start in 6th grade. So 5th graders cannot compete in those meets. They can practice with the team. Occasionally we have independent schools who host meets, and those meets, our 5th graders are welcome to compete in those meets.
And to clarify, Girls on the Run is an enrichment in lower school and not a program in middle school athletics.
Absolutely correct.
Thank you.
One other thing I did miss when it comes to commitment, like obviously once we get into the season, that first week and a half when they're moving around, that's fine. As long as we're checking in and we know where the kids are, who they're with, that's all great. But once we get into the season, one of the most important things we got to really focus on is, like, for years we've tried to do the 3 out of 4 days of committing to a team. So what that means is that, like, if I play soccer, I'm going to be at practice Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, at least 3 out of the 4 days of that practice is offered. And I totally get it, and I understand that you have other commitments and you have other teams that you may be a part of, and that's awesome. But the same way that you are committed to making it to those practices and being part of that team and helping those teammates out, that's the same participation that we would encourage and we would love to have here at Gordon. So what I'm saying that is, if you are going to commit and sign up for a team, please do so with the intent to be there at least 3 out of the 4 days. And the reason for that is that it's a team sport. All of them, cross country included, they're all team sports, and they're all setting an example for each other. If I'm at cross country practices once a week and everyone else is there 4 days a week, they're going to look at me, especially if I'm an older kid, they're going to look and say to me, and that's going to be harder for my coach to say, hey, you guys should be here 4 days a week because you shouldn't be taking days off. And they're going to say, well, what about this kid? This kid is only here twice a week and they get to go to the meets and they get to compete and they get to do all the good stuff. Why do I have to come 4 days if they're only coming 2? And that's the setting the example part of it. All right. That makes it hard for coaches. And we want all kids to be working at the same level. If they're here 3 out of the 4 days and they've committed to the people around them. So like in soccer or field hockey, basketball, whatever sport we're playing, football, if you're missing days, you're missing the lesson for the day. You're missing what the instruction was, what the plan is, what the plays might be, so that when you get out there, you're not going to have the impact that we would want you to have. Okay, so just keeping that in mind as we move forward. We want everyone to have a role, and the only way everyone can have that role is if everyone's putting in the same kind of work.
And one incredibly obvious clarification, but I just want to make sure everyone understands that both the athletics program and the after-school theater program, there is not a charge. There's no additional fee for those programs. That's covered with your tuition.
Thank you for that, Gabe and Damon. Jenny, would you mind unsharing your screen, please? So I'm really grateful that we had this opportunity to be in conversation. I'm wondering if there are other questions about any facets of our after-school program. All right. So if you notice that things are coming to your mind, whether it's clarity around logistics or clarity around vision and program. Oh, Ryan and Natasha have a question. How do you register for drop-in only, Jenny? Is that just a call, or is there a way you do that?
For drop-in, is that the question?
Yeah.
Yep. There's no need to pre-register. There's nothing to do online. It's let your student's teacher know if you know that day at drop-off. Just let them know, hey, instead of dismissal, we're going to do a drop-in to Gators, or just give us a call during the school day to let us know.
Thanks, Jenny. We really see, like I said, the programs that we offer after school as an extension of the school day. And I appreciate Damon's point about how the program evolves into middle school as being more about thinking about some of the skill building that we'd like students to do, which is, again, thinking about what it means to commit to themselves and to each other, and how do they build a team identity, and how do they develop some skills while having lots of fun. So I really appreciate these conversations. And there's a question about music classes. Are they individual or group, Millie?
So almost exclusively the music lessons are individual, but there are some instances. Michelle Kaminsky, who teaches fiddle, loves having a group fiddle consort, essentially, and so that might be one where there would be multiple kids in the same lesson. And Susan Hodgen also has done some dual lessons with piano and voice, and I think she's also done one with ukulele. But it's more the exception than the rule. It's generally an individualized thing. Does that answer?
I think so. So I know folks on the team will be helping out with questions in the chat. In the meantime, I just wanted, a point of the conversation was one, to get really excited about where we are this year after a series of years of having to kind of negotiate and understand the constraints around COVID. We feel excited about some of the possibilities that are reopening for us as a school and getting back to some of the things that we know are really, really exciting for families and for folks like me who joined the community in the last couple of years, kind of orienting ourselves around the systems and the habits and practices that really allow us to kind of flourish as a community. So we wanted to make sure that you all had a sense of the logistics, because those are real, that you understand a sense of the program offerings, and that you understand or have clarity about who to go to with your questions. So obviously Jenny is the person that you would go to think about like the after school program and enrichments. Damon is our athletics director, so he'd be the person to go through to with questions around athletics. Millie is leading our theater program and director of performing arts, so she's our theater question person. And then I wanted to make sure that you've seen some new faces in our community. So I want Cindy, if you are okay with waving. Cindy is not a new face at Gordon, but she's new to her role. She's our early childhood director. And so like a big piece of our work is making sure that that bridge between the school day and after school feels really tight. There might be information that you need us to understand so that we can support your student in the transition between the day. And so obviously Cindy and Jenny and other folks will be in close communication to share that information. I'd also like Minna Ham to wave. Also a familiar face here, but new in her role as lower school director. We're thrilled to have them both in their roles. Gabe, I know many folks know you, but please wave. Gabe's our middle school director. I love having this conversation, and I love how many early childhood folks are still rocking with us this far into the conversation. I think it's really exciting to think about how the journey progresses and what's ahead of you for your children as they move through. And Veronica, if you could wave, thanks for being here. Veronica is our assistant head for institutional advancement and community engagement. I know many of you may have met her through the admissions process if you're new this year, or know her in other faculties. And I realize I am 50 minutes in and I have not introduced myself. So I am Alethea Dunn Carson. I'm the assistant head for teaching and learning, and I have the great joy of thinking about all of the academic and co-curricular experiences that your children have at Gordon. So I see that there are some questions here. I know folks are getting to them as they can, but I would invite you, if more questions emerge, to please reach out to one of these folks. We're so happy to help you. And we're very, very excited to welcoming your children officially in just some days. It was nice to see some friends in the background. I think I saw Ara and Franny. It was nice to see them on the screen. Any other things, folks? All right, well, thanks for hopping on. I'm gonna wade myself back to my house in Providence. I'm still at school. I hope that you all stay dry and safe, and thanks for joining us for this conversation. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Yes, yes, the recording will be available